Yo, what is up everyone, Z-Karma here, and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 build video. Today, I bring you guys my CryoZerker Amara build. This build will clear any content in the game on Mayhem 10 with ease. With this build, you will be able to freeze every single enemy without even trying. I was able to clear even the Guardian takedown with my Guardian ranks turned off, which makes it even better, because you don't even need max Guardian ranks for this to even work. Another really cool thing about this build is that this does not require any DLC items, which means that anyone can use this build. For this video, I will first go over the skill trees quickly just for anyone that wants to take a look at them. Then we will go over the weapons and gear, and finally talk about all the skills and synergies that are relevant to the overall purpose of the build. So before I get into this video, I quickly wanted to mention that YouTube told me that 85% of the people that watch my videos are not currently subscribed. So if you enjoy my content or find it informative in any way, a like rating will be greatly appreciated, and if you want to subscribe for more content like this, that'll be awesome as well. So starting off, let's just go over the skill trees, and here they are. Green tree, just personal space. Blue tree, I max out fast hands, violent tapestry, transcend, restless, wrath, laid bare, awakening, avatar, and remnant, and get my final 2 points on from rest. I also make sure to take stillness of mind from the blue tree, and then this is my red tree where I max out enema, tempest, indiscriminate, deep well, dread, get only 2 points of sustainment, that should be enough, and get forceful expression, and also 1 point into infusion, and that is it. The rest of the points are completely optional, so I'll leave that at your discretion. As for the action skill, I do go with Ties That Bind. It is absolutely the best action skill for Amara, and definitely the best action skill for this build. So now let's go over the weapons real quick. So for the weapons, you can use anything you want, really. You can run all cryo weapons if you really want to, but for the absolute best performance, you want to try different elements. However, I will show you the weapons that I like to run with this build. Again, they are not required, it's just what I'm currently running. I'm running a Mayhem 10 7 cents. This is absolutely incredible. If you don't know how to get a Mayhem 10 7 cents, I do have a video with a guide, so if you want to check that out for yourselves, I'll leave a link in the pinned comment below. I also have a flipper that is also cryo that deals 200% increased weapon damage when action skill is active, so when I'm using Ties That Bind, this will destroy everything through the duration. I'm also running a complex route. I mainly use this weapon to get out of fight for your life. It's basically a free second wind. This is definitely the best weapon in the entire game, at least from my point of view. So now for the equipment, I do have a grenade mod that gives me bonus cryo damage. I recommend you take this because you are going to want to be freezing enemies, and if you're using weapons that don't deal cryo damage, this can help you freeze enemies with those weapons. As for the class mod, I recommend you take a CryoZerker, as that'll help you get violent tapestry stacks, which will help cryo weapons freeze enemies faster, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. But first, let's get into the real deal. What makes this build really work is 2 core interactions. The first one is going to be what I'm going to talk about right now, and that is the interaction with the Frozen Heart Shield and the Icebreaker Victory Rush. So, the Frozen Heart Shield, whenever it's depleted, it releases a Cryo Nova dealing 20,000 damage and freezes enemies. 30% of that damage is returned as health. So not only does it freeze enemies when they break your shield, but it also heals you in case they took some health from you. Just an incredible defensive / offensive shield, probably the best of its kind. You will need an anointment for this, and you have 2 options. You can either take, while Phase Grasp is active, Amara constantly triggers Novas that deal 6,796 damage. So whenever you use Ties That Bind, for the duration of Ties That Bind, you will be creating those Novas. The only problem with those Novas is that they have a very short range. However, if you happen to hit those enemies with the Novas, they will freeze. The other anointment that I recommend, which is the one I actually use, is this one. On action skill start, activate any effects that triggered on shield break. And as you see, whenever this shield breaks, it creates this Cryo Nova that deals 20k damage that freezes enemies, and this Cryo Nova has a big radius. So when you're mobbing, literally every enemy around you is probably gonna freeze. And every time you activate Ties That Bind, all the enemies are gonna freeze and you're free to shoot them. And this is where the artifact comes into play, the Icebreaker Victory Rush. With this artifact, the Icebreaker part will get you 40% increase damage on frozen targets, and the Victory Rush part of the artifact will grant you 18% movement speed and damage when you kill a badass enemy. These two numbers might not seem like much, but they are actually huge bonuses because both of these are multiplicative. The 18% from the Victory Rush is actually a V1 multiplier, and the 40% from the Icebreaker is V2. Both values are multiplicative with normal damage increases, and they are also multiplicative with each other. Just an overall good damage dealing artifact, especially with this build. So all in all, the process goes like this. You activate Ties That Bind, your shield annoying kicks in, all enemies become frozen, you shoot the frozen target with the increased damage from your artifact, and then Ties That Bind finishes the rest of the enemies off. This is just an incredible combo that is quite deadly. Anyway, we are not done here. This build will also allow your cryo weapons to freeze enemies faster. Just in case you happen to not have Ties That Bind ready, this build will do the job. This is done with a combination of several skills and equipment. The CryoZerker class mod, Violent Tapestry, Avatar, and Awakening. Violent Tapestry will provide us with 10 rush stacks, the CryoZerker class mod will give us 5 more, and Avatar will give us an additional 10. This is for a total of 25 rush stacks, and Violent Tapestry, with every stack of rush consumed, we will gain 3.9% increased status effect chance, which is a 97.5% increase. And since we are using Cryo, it will increase our rate at which we freeze enemies with our Cryo weapons. It'll even help our non-Cryo weapons if we have a 50% Cryo anointment on your grenade or weapon. But wait, there's more. Our CryoZerker class mod allows us to gain our max rush stack count on action skill use, and if we fake Grasp several times, we can get up to 99 stacks of Violent Tapestry. This makes our status effect chance reach an increase in 386%. This will make for easy insta-freezing enemies with any cryo weapon. Oh, and one more thing I want to mention is Laid Bare. This is a very underrated skill. Whenever an enemy is damaged by Amara's action skill, they will receive 25% increased damage from all sources. That means that literally anything you do to them for the next 8 seconds, they will receive that bonus. The first thing to note about this skill is that it is multiplicative. It has its own value in the damage formula, and it is not additive with anything. Additionally, Ties That Bind can double dip into this anointment, because Laid Bare increases every single type of damage. And the easiest way to do this, I'll explain it right now. So, with Laid Bare, any enemy that takes action skill damage will start receiving 25% extra damage from all sources. So, imagine we're going to shoot at this guy, the guy that is Grasp. It doesn't matter which one you shoot with Ties That Bind, by the way, it does the same thing. So let's imagine we're going to shoot this guy. If I shoot this guy, these 3 are going to receive action skill damage, but the one I'm shooting is not. So what you want to do is make the guy that you're going to shoot take action skill damage as well. And the easiest way to do that is to shoot one of these guys 1 bullet, and that's it. This guy takes action skill damage, therefore this guy's taking the 25% increase, and when you shoot him, these enemies with Ties That Bind receive an additional 25% increase in damage, which creates that double dip in damage. And now let's go a little bit more into detail on the skills that I picked. For the red tree, we have Anima and Tempest. Both of these skills are great for elemental damage. Anima will increase the dot damage done to enemies and also increase the duration of that dot. I do want to point out that this will also affect yourself, so if you find yourself dying a lot to dot damage, feel free to allocate these points elsewhere. Tempest will increase the elemental damage in general. This goes for any source of elemental damage, including action skills. We also have Dread and Deep Well. Dread will increase your damage for a few seconds after you grasp an enemy, and Deep Well will increase the magazine size of all elemental weapons. Amara is not very good with having big magazines or having infinite ammo, so this is the best you can do with her. We also have Forceful Expression and Infusion. Forceful Expression will grant you bonus elemental damage based on your overall damage dealt. The damage type will be based off of your action skill element, so just make sure to switch that element accordingly. And Infusion, I want to mention that I do not recommend you putting more than 2 points in this skill. The reason is because the damage converted by Infusion affects the way Indiscriminate works. So let's take a look at Indiscriminate. With this skill, bullets have a chance to ricochet, and the ricochet shots will do 50% less damage. However, since this skill is considered action skill damage, on Mayhem 10, this skill actually does 600% increased damage. So, indiscriminate shots that are ricochet literally do more damage than the initial shot itself. So now back to Infusion. The damage converted by Infusion will not be taken into account when calculating the damage for Indiscriminate. Meaning that if you have too many points into Infusion, you are converting too much damage into your action skill element, therefore reducing the actual damage that you end up doing with the ricochet shots. And given that Indiscriminate damage is increased by 600%, you're missing out on a lot of damage. And also on the red tree we have Sustainment. This skill will be your lifeline. You shoot an enemy with an elemental weapon and you should heal yourself instantly. Since we are doing millions of damage on Mayhem 10, that 8% lifesteal that we're getting should be more than enough. So just make sure to take at least 1 point on here. For the green tree, we had Personal Space. This is a V2 bonus of up to 54% damage depending on the distance to your target. This is an incredible skill, you should never pass this up. And finally, for the blue tree, we already talked about the skills that make this build work the way it does, but we also have some very good damage per second skills. Fast Hands and From Rest, both of these skills will increase your damage per second thanks to the increase in reload speed and fire rate. We also have Transcend, which will increase your critical hit damage by 27% after activating your action skill. Wrath will grant you with a 20% gun damage in general, and once you activate your action skill, you will gain an additional 20% for a short time. And we also have Restless. This will help you have your action skill ready more often to obviously put out that insane damage with Ties Bind and the frozen targets combined with the Icebreaker Victory Rush. And finally, the last skill I want to talk about is Remnant. This is an overkill skill, so whenever you damage an enemy, any overkill damage is put in a little orb that searches out a new enemy and damages them for the overkill damage. So since we're doing millions and millions of damage and we always have overkill damage, these orbs are going to deal insane amount of damage. Also, in case you guys didn't know, Remnant is action skill damage, and on Mayhem 10, it is increased by 600%. Just a really good skill, you should always put at least 1 point there. So anyways guys, that is it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think about this build. Go ahead and try this build out for yourself. With that being said, hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to hit that like button for me, as that would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to subscribe for more content like this, that'll be awesome as well. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.